Hello, it's Taylor, and today I'm here to talk to you about my top 5 book-to-movie adaptations. These 5 are not in any particular order because I don't think I could rank them if I tried. I was interested in making this video because books and movies are two of the things that interest me most in the world, and I thought it was a cool idea to try and look back at some of the book-to-movie adaptations and see which ones I liked and why I liked them. One of my all-time favorite book-to-movie adaptations is a play, and it's pretty well known, I'd say. It's Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet has been made into a movie a couple different times, but the version that I'd like to talk to you about today is the Baz Luhrmann directed version with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. Baz Luhrmann was one of the main reasons why I fell in love with this movie. He's also responsible for movies like Moulin Rouge and Australia. I just think he has such a wonderful creative eye, and I love how he modernized the story of Romeo and Juliet, setting it in almost like this 80s, 90s vibed Venice Beach instead of Verona. Obviously, the modernization of the location, characters, and costumes really stepped away from the original play by William Shakespeare, but I felt that it gave it a really unique aspect and made the movie more relatable for people of our current generation. Leonardo DiCaprio as Romeo and Claire Danes as Juliet made the movie so believable, and even though it was definitely a case of insta-love, watching them act it out on screen made me really believe it and want to support the love and the journey that they were going on. Even though the story is about two families and the main characters are both white, I felt like it was really important that they did diversify the cast and add people of color in the roles of Paris and Tybalt, which were two of the most important roles in the plot if you know anything about Romeo and Juliet. I love the movie version of Romeo and Juliet. I probably watched it 100 times and never get bored of it. It is such a visually creative and beautiful masterpiece in cinema, and I think that the characters and the plot are well done, and really you end up with a great end movie. The next book on my list of all-time favorite book-to-movie adaptations is actually a series of 7 books and 8 movies, and you probably guessed it, it is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Growing up, both the book series and the movie series were incredibly important to me. I used to buy the books the day they came out and go see the movies as soon as they were released. If you know anything about the Harry Potter series, you know that the books are very expansive and continue to get longer as the series goes on. Now, as a kid, when I was first watching the movies, I was irritated with the fact that not all of the minor plot points and detailed information was included in the movies, but now, as I've grown up, I understood from a practical standpoint why that doesn't make sense. As far as the characters are concerned, I think that whoever cast the first films did an incredible job. It's hard a lot of the times when you're casting child actors because you don't know how they'll grow, how their acting talents will grow, but I feel like every single child that was cast in the Harry Potter series did an amazing job and really focused on their acting and grew with the story as well. The adult characters were also cast very well. You have some of my all-time favorites, Gary Oldman, Alan Rickman, just some incredible talented people that added Harry Potter to an already great body of work. I feel like both the book series and the movie series were fantastic, incredible. I could use all of the amazing adjectives for both series, and I would highly recommend anyone who's interested in falling in love with a fantastical series to check both the books and the movies out. The next book-to-movie adaptation on my list is If I Stay by Gayle Forman. For those of you who don't know anything about If I Stay, Chloe Grace Moretz plays the main character Mia, and I think she did a phenomenal job. I also think that she was surrounded by an incredible cast of actors. In fact, the characters and the acting are the main reason that this book is on my list of favorites. There is so much development and character-driven story in this book and movie, and I felt like the actors who played those roles did a great job of portraying them. Some of my all-time favorites were Mia's mom, played by Muriel Enos. I hope I'm saying her last name right. Another favorite is the character who plays Adam, that is Jamie Blackley. And of course, my girl, Liana Liberato, who did an amazing job as Kim, who is Mia's best friend. It's been a little while since I read the book If I Stay, so I don't know 100% how the, minor plot deviations worked in the movie. I'm sure there were some minor details and some changes in plot, but overall, I would highly recommend it because of the acting and the characters in the story. I have watched it so many times and continue to get caught up in the storyline. I cry every time. I'm not ashamed to admit it. If you like a good emotional movie, you should definitely watch If I Stay. The fourth adaptation on my list of favorites is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This book and this movie will rip out your heart and tear it to shreds. Just prepare yourself. The Fault in Our Stars follows Hazel Grace Lancaster and Augustus Waters, two teenagers who are currently fighting cancer. Throughout the story, they fall in love, and even though Hazel is hesitant, she does succumb to Gus's charms in the end, and it's a wonderful story, so beautiful and emotional, an incredible tearjerker. Like I said, when I saw it in the movie theaters, I took a pack of tissues with me, and I used the whole thing, not gonna lie. I love this book so much that I was worried the movie wouldn't live up to my expectations, but the two main actors in it, Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort, I felt like they did a great job in their respective roles as Hazel and Gus. There's a really tough scene in the book, and I was interested to see if they would put it in the movie. I knew that as a viewer and a reader, I would have a lot less respect for the filmmakers if it didn't end up in the movie, and it actually did. This scene will contain a little bit of spoilery information, no major spoilers for the end of the book, but I do want to warn you before you go any further. So the scene takes place at a gas station in the middle of the night. Hazel and Gus are both there, and this is after Gus has told her that he is out of remission and is sick again. And Gus is struggling to control his bodily functions. He is sick on himself, and I believe he does use the restroom as well while he can't control his body. And I felt like this was an incredibly powerful and necessary scene in both the book and the movie, because if you've actually known anyone who is struggling with a terminal illness like cancer, you know that these things do happen. It was incredibly emotional for me to read, as I've experienced it with someone I loved in my life, and I felt like I was really grateful to John Green for including a scene like that in the book, and it made the movie even more powerful. The Fault in Our Stars is one of my favorite books and also one of my favorite movies. I do think that the portrayal of someone struggling with cancer was incredibly realistic just based on my personal experiences, and I know that did make it a harder read for me to get through, and it made the movie a very rough experience to watch, but in the end I was grateful to both John Green and the filmmakers for really going there and making it realistic, because cancer isn't something that should be glamorized. It's something that is a terrible ordeal and something that hopefully we will one day find a cure for. The last books I'm going to talk about in this video are the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants books by Anne Brashares, and there are 4 books in the series total, but they were only made into 2 movies, which is the first issue that I want to talk about. So the plot wasn't incredibly accurate from book to movie because they did splice up things from each book and end up cutting them down into 2 movies. On one hand, I'm grateful they did that because I did get to see certain aspects of each book in the 2 movies, but ideally as a book lover, I would have loved to see 4 different movies that were more plot accurate. While there were some cheesy and cringeworthy moments in the movies, I'm glad they got made, because sometimes I feel that movies can reach a larger base than books can, and as a young girl and even into my teenage years, these books really helped me see that being different is not necessarily a bad thing as a teenage girl. I love that all the girls were from different backgrounds. They came from different cultures, different socioeconomical levels, and they even had different family makeups. You've got some single parent households, some divorce, some incredibly happy, long-lasting marriages. It just goes to show that no matter where you come from on the family aspect, you can bring something valuable to your friendship. Speaking of the friendship, I absolutely loved how supportive it was. Now, it wasn't always perfect. The girls did fight, but there wasn't ever this sort of competition or nastiness or girl hating that goes on in a lot of books, movies, and even real life nowadays. While these movies are not life-changing, I do think that they're an important watch because they have a really positive message behind them. You know, we all have our own coming of age journey, and it's great to have this supportive, encouraging friendship to help get us through those things that we're going to go through growing up. Those are my top 5 book to movie adaptations for various reasons, whether that be characters, plot, or representation. I love all of these books and movies for one reason or another, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me for more videos in the future.